Good morning, everyone. Today, I shall discuss unit number 2, that is the ground of induction. So, in my previous class, we have already discussed that what is ground of induction and what are the kinds of grounds of induction. Now, today, already we have studied that the law of the uniformity of nature and the law of causation are known as the formal grounds of induction. These two, that is the law of uniformity of nature and the law of causation, these two are known as the formal grounds of induction. So, now today I shall discuss what is the law of the uniformity of nature. So, law of the uniformity of nature means what? So, first of all, different logicians have expressed in different ways, but in general, uniformity of nature means nature is uniform. Nature is uniform. Nature repeats itself. So, uniformity of nature means nature is uniform, that nature repeats itself, nature behaves in the same way, that is under similar circumstances. So, that means the uniformity of nature, that is the present resembles the past and the future will resembles the present. So, there are parallel cases in nature and so on. So, these various expressions, that means these expressions, that is nature is uniform, nature repeats itself, nature behaves in the same way, these are the expressions. So, these expressions mean that under similar circumstances, nature behaves in the same way. Nature never violates her law until any accidental condition appears. Clear? So, now in another way, that is to think, that is in our everyday life we see many events. We perceive some events which repeats itself. For example, the sun rises in the east. The earth glows with the light of the sun, and the sun sets, the light diminishes. We feel very hot in the month of June and July. We feel in the winter cold, we feel cold in the month of December and January. So, nature is governed by some laws. So that means some laws, that is nature behaves in the same way under similar circumstances, which is repeats itself. For example, this example, that is we feel hot in the month of June and July, but in the month of January and December we feel cold. So, nature is governed by these type of laws. In nature, if the circumstances are repeated, the events must be repeated. If the circumstances are repeated, the events must be repeated. If the same circumstances occur, the same event will follow. If under some circumstances, that is water quench our thirst in the past, under similar circumstances, water will quench in the future also. So, if fire burned us in the past under certain circumstances, under similar circumstances in future also fire will also burn. So this type of laws of nature repeated. If something is happened in the past, then it is happened in the future also. So these are the governed by some laws of nature. Again, in nature there are some parallel cases also. We observe as winter comes, leaves of the trees dry up and fall down. Again, when spring comes, new leaves appear on trees. From this observation or from this experience, we see that both of them come from the same source, that is nature. Both of them come from the same source, that is nature. Leaves dry up and fall down, and again leaves appear on trees. Both of them come from same source, that is nature. So in nature, that is, these are the parallel cases in nature. Now everything in this universe is uniform in accordance to nature. Anything happened in the past and is happening at present have the chance of the happening in the same in the future also. So it is completely based on some laws, that is the source of nature. So here we take some examples also. For example, sun rose in the east. At present, sun rises in the east. So therefore, according to the law of the uniformity of nature, we can say that the sun will rise in the east in future also. So if water quenched our thirst in the past, surely it will quench our thirst in the future also. That means the sun rises in the east and sets in the west. Sun rises in the east and sets on the west. In future, we will say that, and we can say that the sun will rise in the east. So this is the uniformity of nature, and everything in this universe is uniform. So now we can say that nature is uniform. Nature is uniform. Nature repeats itself. Today's any incident or any event, in future it will again happen. This is repeat itself and behaves in the same way. That means in the same nature, same way. So all the things of a class possess certain essential qualities, and these essential qualities are presented all the things of a class. That means any accidental or superficial qualities are not equally present in the things of a class or accidental qualities of men. That means black, white, tall, short, rich, poor may be various, but in spite of these differences, only for essential qualities we can put them in the same class, that is men. That is the source, that is men. That is the natural qualities, that is men. So whether it is black or white, short or tall, rich or poor maybe, but in nature, that is, we can put the same class, that is men. All are men. It is the natural uniformity, natural form, natural uniform. So now uniformity of nature is of two kinds. One is uniformity of coexistence and another is uniformity of succession. So uniformity of existence and uniformity of succession. So now again we say that is uniformity of nature. Uniformity, that is the law of the uniformity of nature, is of two kinds. One is uniformity of coexistence and uniformity of succession. Now question, what is uniformity of coexistence? That means uniformity of coexistence means when we perceive two events that occur coexistently. For example, milk is white, water is liquid, coil is black. This type, that means these two events that occur coexistently. So for example, milk is white, water is liquid and coil is black. So again I said that is uniformity of coexistence means when we perceive two events that occur coexistently. And again another, that is another kind of the uniformity of nature, that is uniformity of succession. Uniformity of succession means when we perceive two events that occur successively. For example, day follows the night. Day follows the night and the night follows the day. This is the example of uniformity of succession. So day follows night and night follows day. So here day follows night expresses uniformity, day follows night expresses uniformity of succession. So here night also succeed day regularly or uniformly. So these two types of the uniformity of nature, that means uniformity of coexistence means when we perceive two events that occur coexistently. And again uniformity of succession means when we perceive two events that occur successively. So here for example uniformity of coexistence is existence when we perceive two events that occur coexistently. For example, milk is white, water is liquid and coil is black. So these are the example of uniformity of coexistence. Again, uniformity of succession when we perceive two events that occur successively. For example, day follows night and the night follows day. So here day follows but night follows day expresses uniformity of succession. So I think these two are very much important forms of the law of the uniformity of nature. So again, though nature has uniformity in all respects, yet sometimes it appears in all nature is not at all uniform. So before going to this expression, one thing keep in mind that first of all we say that is nature is uniform, but now we say that nature is uniformity in all respects, yet sometimes it appears that nature is not at all uniform. How? She is whimsical rather than regular. She is multiform rather than uniform. She is multiform, that is different forms, rather than uniform. So then she is, for example, earthquake, flood, tsunami. These are the example. So here all under the nature, that is earthquake, flood and the tsunami, all under comes in nature. But sometimes it seems that regarding these events, nature is not uniform. Sometimes that means it seems that from these events, that is natural events, earthquake, flood, tsunami, these type of natural events is not uniform. These events are governed by no laws. These events are not governed by no laws. These events, that means these natural events has governed by no laws. There is no law here. That means when flood will come, when tsunami will destroy us in ordinary observation, and then it appears that nature is not at all uniform. So nature is not at all uniform. We can say also that nature is not uniform, not at all. So again, any accidental event, that means when tsunami comes, when tsunami destroys will destroy us, then so in ordinary observation it appears that nature is not uniform at all. So it seems, suppose for example flood. So when seems to rain, when the sky is clear, whereas sometimes it doesn't rain even if the sky is cloudy. But the universe and the laws are the only cause for the appearance of these type of accidental circumstances or accidental events. Now, the uniformity of nature does not mean that there is no variety in nature. So now again, law of the uniformity of nature does not mean that there is no variety in nature. As Mill says, the course of nature in fact is not only uniform, the universe is infinitely various. There is not one uniformity or law governing the whole nature, but that corresponding to the different uniformities or laws. For example, in the department of physics, there is the law of gravitation, which holds good of all physical phenomena. In the department of chemistry, by the law of definite proportion, elementary substances combine with one another in certain fixed proportion, and so on, corresponding to different departments of nature, that is botany, zoology, sociology, astrology, etc. There are different laws. So regarding these natural, that is departments, that is zoology, botany, sociology, psychology, so etc. There are different laws which carry on their investigation in their respective spheres. So, every department has different laws which carry on their different investigation or in their investigation in their respective spheres or respective areas. But though there are some various departments in nature and also uniformities or laws governing these different departments, yet these departments' laws, different laws are part of one whole. The parts of nature are organically related to the whole. It is not just disorganized jumble of parts. As you see in your textbook, that is unit number 2, grounds of induction, that is page number 29, we can see that all its different parts are parts of one system. Again, I say that is all its different parts are of one system. So, in this conclusion, in this expression, we can say that nature is a unity in variety, nature is a cosmos, not a chaos. So, in this expression, we can say that what is the conclusion? That nature is a unity in variety, that is different. Nature is a cosmos, not a chaos. So, now the law of the uniformity of nature or the principle of the uniformity of nature is a postulate or formal ground of induction. Without the law of the uniformity of nature, we can't establish formal grounds of induction. The uniformity of nature forms the very basis of all inductive generalization. So, in this way, according to Mill, this is an assumption in every case of induction. There is scientific and unscientific. Induction is scientific and unscientific. So, here if this law, that means the law of the uniformity of nature, is not accepted as true, we cannot pass from observed to unobserved, known to unknown, from particular to general, on the ground of this law, that means law of the uniformity of nature, only by observing mortality of some men, that is in my previous class also I have discussed, that is Ram is mortal, Sham is mortal, Jadu is mortal, therefore all men are mortal. So, these some men means that is Ram, Sham, Jadu, Madhu, and the experience, that is the mortality of some men. On the basis of this mortality or this mortality of some men, we can say that all men are mortal, and we can establish a general proposition, that means all men are proposition on the basis of these some men. That is the principle of the uniformity of nature is regarded is the ground of all inductions, because we can't, without the principle of the uniformity of nature, we can't establish a general real proposition. We can't observation of some men, observation of mortality of some men, not all, some men, that is Ram, Sham, Jadu, these are the mortal. So on the basis of this observation, we can establish a general proposition, that is all men are mortal. So according to Mill, the principle of the uniformity of nature is a fundamental principle or a general axiom of induction. So according to Mill, the principle of the uniformity of nature is a fundamental principle or a general axiom of induction. We cannot prove the law of the uniformity of nature, but with the help of this law, we can prove all the inductions. Again, keep in mind this point, we cannot prove the law of the uniformity of nature, but with the help of this law, we can prove all the inductions. The same idea is expressed by Mill when he says that uniformity of nature is the grantee. Uniformity of nature is the grantee. Uniformity of nature is the grantee, the ultimate major premise of all inductions. So, in conclusion, we can say that this principle is a postulate or formal ground of induction. So, today's only we have discussed the law of the uniformity of nature. Next, in my next class, I shall discuss the next topics, that is the law of causation. So today in these topics, there are different definitions, different ways of expression of the principle of the uniformity of nature, and what are the different types of the uniformity of nature. We can we will understand. I hope that you will see your textbook also, and you will read your textbook also, that what is the law of uniformity of nature and its kinds. So today's is over. So thank you everyone.